I want you to just pause for a second. Wherever you are, driving, walking, sitting at your desk, I want you to imagine that you are sinking. You've just slipped beneath the surface of the ocean and you are dropping.
And the first thing you notice isn't the water itself, it's the light. It fades so fast.
Yeah.
You go from that bright, sparkling blue to a twilight gray and then to a heavy, inky indigo.
And then it's just gone. You are in total, absolute darkness. But the scary part isn't the dark. As you keep dropping, gravity stops being the main thing you feel. Instead, it becomes pressure.
It's a complete shift in physics. You are descending miles deep now. It is totally silent.
Yeah.
And the weight of the water above you is, well, it's heavier than the human mind can really comprehend.
The sources we looked at for this deep dive describe the pressure at the very deepest point, the Challenger Deep, as equivalent to having an elephant stand on your thumb.
Which is a horrifying image if you really think about it. But let's be precise with the physics. That is over 1,000 atmospheres of pressure.
1,000.
1,000 times the weight of the air we are breathing right now, pressing against every single inch of your body.
It creates this visceral feeling that the environment itself is telling you, you do not belong here.
And yet, here's the strange irony. Here is where we live.
That's the central paradox, isn't it? We live on the blue planet. We see that beautiful marble from space. But that vast, dark, pressurized world you just imagined, that is the majority of our home. And is the part of our home we almost never see.
That disconnect is exactly what we are digging into today. We are essentially tenants living in the attic of a mansion, having never visited the ground floor.
Welcome, listeners, to another My Mind MashUps deep dive, where we unravel mysteries, spark curiosity, and make sense of complex ideas together.
Today's mission is a full plunge into the deep ocean. We aren't just talking about fish. We are looking at the latest seafloor mapping data, some mind-bending deep-sea biology, including a major discovery from just last year, 2025, and the classified history of acoustic surveillance.
Basically, the goal is to understand why the abyss is Earth's final and perhaps ultimate hiding place. And hey, before we descend any further, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe if you enjoy content that makes you think.
So, to kick this off, we really need to address a fundamental human bias. It's hardwired into us. When we think about the unknown or we dream about making a huge, earth-shattering discovery, where do we instinctively look?
We look up, we look at the stars, we build massive telescopes.
Exactly. We associate mystery with distance and with a vacuum. We pour billions into probes to look at Mars or distant exoplanets. But the irony, and it is a massive irony, is that we actually know more about the topography of Mars and the far side of the moon than we do about the bottom of our own oceans.
That is the directional bias.
Yeah.
We assume the mystery is light years away, but if you actually look at the facts, the true unknown isn't in the sky. It is right beneath our feet, protected by physics that actively fight our technology.
It's a hidden world, protected by darkness and death, to be blunt. So while we crane our necks looking up, the data suggests the greatest unknown is actually down.
Okay, let's unpack this with some hard numbers, because I think the scale here is honestly difficult to wrap your head around. We all learn in school that the ocean covers about 71% of the Earth's surface.
Right, but that's just surface area. That's looking at a 2D map. You have to remember the ocean is a three-dimensional environment with immense depth. If you look at habitable volume, the actual space where living things can exist, the ocean provides 99% of the planet's habitable space.
Wait, 99%?
Yes, think about it. Life on land is a thin film. Trees, birds, humans, we only exist in a thin layer near the ground, but the ocean goes down 7 miles, so 99% of the living space on Earth is underwater.
So the land, everything we know, every city, every forest,
Yeah.
that fits into the remaining 1%. Okay, so if that's the case, how much of that massive habitable space have we actually documented? Because I think most people open Google Earth, they see the blue texture with all the ridges and trenches, and they assume, oh, we know it's there.
That is the single biggest misconception about the ocean. We technically have a map of 100% of the seafloor, but it is derived from satellite altimetry.
Satellite altimetry. Break that down for us. How does a satellite in space see the bottom of the ocean?
It doesn't. It sees the surface. Basically, large underwater mountains, seamounts, have so much mass that their gravity pulls water toward them, creating a tiny bump on the ocean surface.
Okay.
The satellite measures the bump and guesses what's underneath.
So it's a gravity map, not a visual one.
Correct. And it is incredibly low resolution. It misses anything smaller than about 5 kilometers wide. So you could hide an entire city or a spaceship or a massive geological formation down there, and if it's smaller than 5 kilometers, that map shows it as flat ground.
It's just a blurry outline.
Basically a blurry outline.
Okay, that's the blurry map. What about the good maps? The high-resolution stuff where we actually send a ship back and forth.
If we are talking about modern, high-resolution, multi-beam sonar, we have only mapped about 27.3% of the seafloor.
That's it.
That is it. That leaves nearly 3/4 of our planet known only by guesswork and gravity sensors.
But here's where it gets really interesting. That's just mapping, making a chart. What about actually seeing it? With cameras, or robots, or human eyes?
See, this is the statistic that usually floors people. Visual observation of the deep sea floor, actually looking at it with light, accounts for roughly 0.001%.
0.001%. That's statistically zero.
To give you an analogy, that visual coverage is an area roughly the size of Rhode Island.
Okay.
Imagine if you were an alien and you landed in a cornfield in Rhode Island. You look around, you see some corn, maybe a barn, and based only on that, you assume you know everything about the rest of the Earth. The Amazon rainforest, the Himalayas, Tokyo, the Sahara Desert.
You would be missing almost the entire picture. You wouldn't even know cities existed.
That is our current state of knowledge regarding the deep ocean.
So when we say unexplored in this context, we don't mean nobody lives there. We mean unseen, unvisited, and unsampled.
Precisely. And the reason for this ignorance isn't just a lack of funding, though that's part of it. It is the physics we talked about earlier. The ocean is what we call an information black hole.
Because water blocks everything we use to communicate.
It kills electromagnetic waves, radar, GPS, Wi-Fi, visible light. All the tools we use to explore the universe or navigate our cities are useless below about 200 meters.
A total blackout zone.
You enter a total blackout zone.
Which explains why we can map Mars better than the Mariana Trench. Mars doesn't have an ocean blocking our sensors.
And Mars doesn't try to crush you. The engineering challenge is stark. It is significantly easier to build a spaceship to keep 1 atmosphere of pressure in against a vacuum than it is to build a submersible to keep 1,000 atmospheres out.
But despite those impossible conditions, life is down there. And not just scraping by, it's thriving in ways that completely rewrote our biology textbooks.
You are referring to the watershed moment in 1977.
The discovery of hydrothermal vents near the Galapagos Rift. Before this, science basically had a rule: no sun, no life.
Right. Photosynthesis was the only game in town. The entire food chain, we thought, started with the sun hitting a plant. But then we took a sub down to the Galapagos, and we found these vents spewing superheated toxic chemicals.
Hydrogen sulfide.
Hydrogen sulfide, and surrounding them were giant tube worms, 2 meters long.
And they weren't eating sunlight.
No. They were eating the chemicals from the Earth's crust. It was chemosynthesis. It proved life can exist in alien conditions right here on Earth.
Speaking of alien, let's talk about the visuals down there, because if you do turn on a light, things look weird, specifically bioluminescence.
It is everywhere. It is estimated that up to 90% of deep-sea species use bioluminescence.
And usually we think of that as a lure, right? Like the anglerfish dangling a little light to attract a snack.
That is one function, yes. Predation. But there was an aha moment recently that changed how we view this. Research suggests it's not just for hunting or mating.
Because making light takes a lot of energy, right?
Yeah.
If you're living in a food desert, why waste energy glowing?
Exactly. It seemed inefficient. But new studies show that the chemical reaction that creates light using a molecule called luciferin also acts as a powerful antioxidant system.
Wait, like a health cleanse?
In a way, yes. The extreme pressure down there creates massive stress on cells, leading to free radicals, basically molecular shrapnel that damages DNA.
I see.
The chemical reaction that produces light actually neutralizes those free radicals.
The glowing is actually protecting them.
Yes. Bioluminescence is a biochemical survival tool to stop their DNA from breaking down under pressure. The light is almost a byproduct of them taking their medicine.
That is incredible. They glow to keep from being crushed at a cellular level. It really highlights how little we understand the mechanisms of life down there. And we are still finding giants too. I have to bring up the big win for science from just last year.
Ah, the colossal squid.
The colossal squid, Mesonicoteuthis hamiltoni. Not the giant squid, but the colossal squid.
Yeah.
Heavier, meaner, bigger hooks.
For 100 years, we only knew this thing existed because we found beaks and body parts in the stomachs of sperm whales.
Right.
We knew it was out there, but we couldn't find it alive. It was a ghost.
Until March 2025.
Yes.
Near the South Sandwich Islands. The first confirmed live footage of a juvenile colossal squid in its natural habitat.
It was stunning footage.
But think about the context. We have satellites that can read a license plate from space. We have AI that can write poetry. But it took us until 2025 to get video of a squid the size of a minivan.
It really proves that large things, apex predators, can hide effectively in the deep. The ocean is vast enough to conceal giants.
And this connects to the search for life in space, doesn't it?
It does. If we connect this to the bigger picture, we have found life, like the Mariana snailfish, living at over 8,000 meters deep. These ecosystems are the model for astrobiologists. If life works here, in the dark and crushing pressure, it makes life on icy moons like Europa or Enceladus much more plausible.
Because those moons have subsurface oceans, too.
Exactly. We are essentially studying alien worlds by looking at our own seafloor.
If this is resonating, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss the next deep dive. We're going deeper.
So we've established that light fails us down there. That means we have to rely on sound. But sound in the ocean is tricky.
It's the acoustic realm.
It is. Water is an incredible conductor of sound. It travels 5 times faster than in air, but it bends and refracts depending on temperature layers. You get these shadow zones where sound just disappears and you get the SOFAR channel.
The SOFAR channel. Explain that simply for us.
Think of it like a fiber optic cable, but made of water. It's a specific depth where sound waves get trapped and can travel for thousands of miles without losing energy. You can drop a small explosive charge off the coast of Australia and hear it in Bermuda.
That creates a very noisy, confusing environment. And sometimes that noise creates mysteries. We have to talk about the bloop.
The famous bloop of 1997, an ultra-low frequency sound that was so loud it was detected by sensors across almost the entire Pacific Ocean.
And naturally, everyone thought, monster.
Or a massive, unknown beast. The sound profile looked organic, it looked like a living thing, but it was far too loud to be a whale.
But science eventually ruined the party on that one.
Eventually, yes. By 2012, NOAA confirmed it was an icequake, a massive iceberg cracking and fracturing away from the Antarctic shelf. When you speed up the recording, it sounds like a roar, but it was geological.
Okay, so the bloop is solved, but not everything has been explained. What about the upsweep?
The upsweep is still a genuine puzzle. It's a seasonal sound detected since 1991. It consists of these long, rising train whistle sounds. The leading theory is some kind of volcanic activity, but it has never been pinpointed to a specific source. It remains an acoustic anomaly.
And that brings us to the things that definitely aren't volcanoes. We're talking about USO's unidentified submerged objects.
This is where we run into a major issue with our data: classification bias.
What does that mean for a sonar operator?
Sonar operators, particularly in the military, are trained to tag things quickly. It's life or death. If they see a contact, they want to label it biologic, like a whale or seismic or enemy sub. They are trained not to leave things as unknown.
So if something weird passes by, they might just force it into a category like glitch or whale just to clear the screen.
Exactly, but sometimes they see what they call fast movers.
These are the contacts that break the rules.
Correct. Transient contacts that move at speeds hundreds of knots that are physically impossible for biology and impossible for current submarine technology due to drag and cavitation.
And the data on this, is there a database we can look at?
No. And this is the frustration for scientists. The best ears in the ocean belong to the military networks like SOSUS, which was built to track Soviet subs. But that data is classified.
Right, because if you release the recording of the weird sound or the fast mover, you're also telling your enemies exactly how sensitive your microphones are.
Exactly. Secrecy protects nuclear deterrence. The ocean is an information black box by design. So legitimate scientific anomalies often get locked away in classified archives, not because of a conspiracy to hide aliens, but because of national security.
It creates this gap where myths can flourish. And speaking of myths, let's pivot to folklore. Because often, the monsters we invented turned out to be real animals we just didn't understand yet.
That is the kernel of truth in almost every sea myth. They're usually pre-scientific observations filtered through fear.
Take the Kraken. For centuries, that was a myth.
The Kraken is almost certainly the giant squid, Architeuthis. Sailors saw these massive tentacles or found dead bodies washed up and their minds filled in the blanks. They imagined a monster that dragged ships down. The animal was real, the aggression was just exaggerated.
And sea serpents, that's a classic.
Likely the oarfish. It's this silver ribbon-like fish that can grow up to 11 meters, that's 36 feet long. They live deep, but sometimes they come to the surface when they are sick or dying.
Oh, right.
If you are a medieval sailor and you see a 36-foot silver snake undulating at the surface, you are absolutely going to go back to port and tell everyone you saw a sea serpent.
Even mermaids have a biological explanation, though it's a bit less flattering.
Manatees and dugongs. Even Christopher Columbus noted it. He wrote in 1493 that the mermaids he saw weren't as beautiful as they were painted.
Which is a polite way of saying they were chubby sea cows.
Exactly. So the takeaway is that the monsters exist, but they are animals. The deep is where the extraordinary goes to hide.
And hide is the operative word here. We've talked about biology and mapping, but there's strategic reality to the ocean. It is the ultimate concealment zone.
It is the perfect hiding place. If you want to disappear, you go deep. Below 200 meters, you have total darkness, so no satellite spy capability can see you. Then you have the sound physics we mentioned, specifically thermoclines.
Walk us through the thermocline.
A thermocline is a layer where water temperature changes rapidly, like a barrier between warm surface water and cold, deep water. It acts like a mirror for sonar. A submarine can sit just beneath that layer
And be invisible.
An active sonar pinging from a surface ship will hit that temperature layer, bounce off, and never touch the sub.
It makes them invisible.
Effectively, yes. And that invisibility is the basis of global security.
Because if you can't find the subs, you can't take them out.
Right. Nuclear deterrence relies on the fact that we have submarines that cannot be found. So governments have a vested interest in keeping the deep ocean opaque. They don't want it perfectly mapped. They don't want transparent, real-time data available to the public.
That is a sobering thought. We have the sheer scale, 99% of the living space on Earth. We have the physics, darkness, and pressure that fight our sensors. And then we have the intentional strategic secrecy.
All combining to create this massive blind spot.
Which leads us to the big question, the core paradox of this deep dive.
It's the why look up paradox.
If something unknown exists on Earth, why do we assume it's in the sky?
It is a question of logic. We focus on the sky because we can see it. It's transparent. We can point a telescope and see a galaxy a million of light years away. But the ocean, it resists us.
But strictly speaking, the ocean is the most scientifically roomy place for a major discovery to exist undetected.
Absolutely. Whether that is a biological species we haven't seen, a geological phenomenon we don't understand, or even something technological, we simply cannot rule it out.
It's wild to think about. We are studying alien worlds light years away, scanning them for radio signals, trying to find water, while standing on top of an alien world we haven't even properly mapped.
The ocean forces us to be humble. It reminds us that unexplored isn't just a fancy word on a map, it's a reality. There are things down there right now moving in the dark that we have no idea about.
That is where we leave you today. Drop your thoughts in the comments. What do you think is down there? Your perspective could shape our next deep dive.
And remember, just because we haven't seen it doesn't mean it isn't watching us from the deep.
Like, comment, and subscribe to hear more My Mind Mashups, deep dives. Find My Mind Mashups everywhere you listen. Amazon Music, Audible, Facebook, Pocket Cast, Spotify, TikTok, and YouTube. Thanks for diving in with us.